look, even if we don't contribute anything, which is not going to happen, we're going to do something. We can take this money that we were putting towards our 401k and our retirement accounts, and we can do it for things in the now.
Investing for retirement takes time, patience, and consistency. Eventually, you'll reach a point where you don't need to contribute any more money to hit your retirement goals. And that's what we call Coast Fire. On our Coast Fire segment today, we're going to interview AJ from Nashville. AJ and his wife Tabitha hit this Coast Fire milestone recently in their early 30s. Today, we're going to learn how they accomplished this family financial goal and how this affects their journey going forward. Welcome to the show, AJ.
Hey, Andy, great to be here. Looking forward to this discussion.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for contributing to the community and helping others achieve their Coast Fire goals as well. So I like to start this segment with the Coast Fire 5, where I ask you 5 quick questions about this Coast Fire milestone you've hit so people understand it a little easier. So let's start with question number 1. How much do you have invested for your retirement today?
Yeah, so Andy, we have about 430,000 as the market sits right now, right? Invested for retirement, and that split is about 350 in investment, like retirement accounts. We have 60 in a brokerage. We have 10 in about an HSA, and that leaves us with about 10 to 15 in cold hard cash.
Love it, man. Okay, and how old are you and your spouse today?
I'm 31, and my wife Tabitha is 33, and we have a 5-year-old named Miles.
Awesome, man. That's great. Okay, question number 3 here. Based on your Coast Fire calculations, then, how much will you have in retirement if you decide to not contribute anything else going forward?
Yeah, so this is what's super exciting, the power of compound interest, right? So assuming, a 7% rate of return here, that puts us at about $2.5 million by the time we retire at age 60.
I love that. That's at 60. Okay, great. And then, So how much income will this potentially provide you in retirement?
That works out to be, with the 4% rule, you're looking at $100,000 a year.
$100,000 a year, and that is inflation adjusted, everybody.
Correct.
So that's $100,000 today if you didn't contribute anything else. Wow, that's super powerful, man. So how much income do you guys need to live comfortably today then?
That's what's so cool about this stuff is the lifestyle that we've created for ourselves now, which we're really comfortable with. We're looking at like 60 to 70,000 a year. That's it.
I love it. I love it, man. So you are well situated for retirement in your early 30s. That's incredible, AJ. Way to go, man. Congratulations. And thank you for sharing all this information with us to help us understand your situation. So now we understand the situation a little bit better and the numbers. Talk to us about your origin here. When did you start investing and what got you motivated originally?
Yeah. So I grew up overseas. I grew up in the country of Guatemala, and my parents are missionaries. I'm the oldest child. And when it came time for college, they said, hey, we really don't have that much to help you go to college. You're going to have to figure it out. So I got a scholarship through the Army, and I was determined to not have any student loans. I didn't care what I had to do. I went through Army ROTC. I worked a job while I was in college. I just did not want any school debt at all. Fast forward a couple of years, I'm in the Army. I got married to my wife. My wife brought a lot of student loan debt to the marriage. And so when we got married, we had about, I would say, 70,000 in debt between the two of us now, our debt. And I deployed with the Army, and while I was on deployment, I was getting some extra allowances, and I wanted to figure out what I was supposed to do with it, and I wanted to get rid of the debt too. And that's what really got me onto Dave Ramsey, the Total Money Makeover. How can I pay down this debt quickly so I can start accumulating my wealth? And that's really the motivation, right? Is when I was on deployment, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with that extra money.
That's excellent. And then how did you start investing it at that point? I mean, there's a lot of confusing information out there about how to invest your money. There's lots of really great ideas out there for you. So how did you decide which way to go?
So I remember when I was going through the Total Money Makeover process, I to this day remember clicking the button to drain. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Dave Ramsey baby steps, one of the first things you do is you save up that $1,000 and you just put the rest towards expenses and your debt. And I remember clicking that button and draining the savings down, and it hurt so bad, Andy. It hurt so bad. But then I started doing the mutual funds. I started doing the S&P 500, just slowly building the knowledge over time. I didn't wake up one day and know exactly what to do.
Yeah. So you just started, and I've heard that from a lot of people. It's like sometimes we get locked up by this analysis paralysis, and then we do nothing, and we look up 10 years later
Right.
and be like, ah, yeah, I really got to start investing. But you started, and you got busy with it. Did you take advantage of any sort of tax advantaged retirement accounts? I know you mentioned that you had $350,000 in retirement. So which retirement avenues did you use to get there?
Yeah, so now I started when I first initially started, I was just doing IRAs. So I was just looking at the Roth IRA for myself and for my wife. That was to kind of get my feet wet, start the process of getting familiar with Vanguard and how to manipulate the system. But now, as we look into our portfolio, like we have a pretty broad mix of things, including S&P 500 index funds, very traditional. We have some RSUs through my company, real estate with our house, and then we have HSA, IRA, and of course the 401ks.
I love that, man. And you guys are in your early 30s. You've taken this and built it so well. And you guys have a child. Is that right?
Yeah, he's 5 and he's way cooler than I am, and he just started kindergarten, so he is just loving life, man.
I love that. Now, you guys are already investing so much for your future. Have you already started investing for your 5-year-old as well, or is that something you guys haven't jumped into yet?
Yeah, so we opened a 529 when he was born, and we've just on autopilot. We've put, I think it's $200 a month. We've just sucked it away into his 529. I'm kind of on the fence right now if I want to continue doing the 529 or if it's more of an advantage to kind of do like a brokerage account for him to give flexibility just with the current state of things. But yes, we are saving for him, and I think he will appreciate that a lot.
I love this. I love this family legacy of investing. It's very cool. Talk to us when you started paying off the student loans and you started investing at the same time. There's a lot of collaboration there between you and your wife Tabitha. How did some of those conversations go in the beginning, just to kind of jump on board and feel like you guys were a part of a team?
Yeah, so 100%, Andy. When we were dealing with in a marriage, we are one, and we need to be on the same page. Having our money together was one of the biggest things for us to be successful. So we very quickly, I got my wife to read Total Money Makeover. We had some discussions about it. I didn't make any of these decisions in a vacuum by far. I was halfway across the world. I didn't want to do anything crazy with our finances. Um, but we just had the traditional budget meetings that probably like took a little bit more time than they definitely do now. But it was just being intentional about the conversation and where we wanted to position ourselves in the next 3, 5, 10 years.
Excellent. Well, I remember when I started some of those conversations with my wife, I think controlling our expenses was a main main topic of conversation because we were young. We wanted to enjoy living for today, but also balance thinking about tomorrow. How did you guys work to control those expenses? You said you met for budget meetings and things like that. So talk to us about those and how that went.
We are very big proponents, especially early on. We definitely had a budget, very, very strict. We used the Every Dollar app when it came out with the Dave Ramsey platform. We wanted our money to have a plan on paper for where it was going. That way we didn't end up at the end of the month wondering where it went. So initially in our journey, we were very big on really sticking to that budget, almost, to our downfall, right? Just going a little bit too hardcore. I would say now over time, we are definitely, I would say we're more of like the anti-budget camp now. We have everything on autopilot. We have our savings goals, and then it is what it is. So we've definitely got a lot less stringent as time went on.
I think that's interesting. So once you get the discipline and you have that routine in your life, it becomes a lot easier just to say, okay, I'm putting automation to work and taking care of the things that we know we need to take care of. Talk to us about this Coast Fire goal you've hit. Has the realization of these numbers that we did at the Coast Fire 5, does that change anything for you guys? Does that make you want to keep pushing forward the retirement investing bucket? Or I guess, what are your thoughts now that you know that compound interest in time can take you this far?
Yeah, so we recently passed like the 600,000 net worth mark, and 500,000 was towards the beginning of the year too. So when that happened, I remember my wife was in the kitchen, like doing the dishes, doing something in the kitchen. I walked in there and you're gonna have to sit down. I have a milestone to share with you. Like, this is crazy. And I think it really just gave us the realization of, it gave us a lot more, I guess, autonomy, especially with our jobs. You think about people doing a job because they have to pay the bills or whatever. When you see stuff like this and see the power of compound interest that you've built for yourself, it really does give you a chance to kind of take a step back, take a breath, and really evaluate if what you're doing is in line with your values as a family and where you're trying to end up. So
Yeah.
a lot of flexibility, a lot of flexibility.
That's great. And now you guys are taking that pause and taking that realization. Are there any changes you're planning on making, or even in the 10 years from now on your bucket list? What are you thinking right now?
Yeah, so we have definitely eased off the gas in terms of our savings rate. We've done this for, man, we've been married for coming up on 9 years. And so our entire marriage, we've been trying our best, at 40, 50, 60% savings. And so now we're at a point, my son is in public school, so finally not paying for daycare anymore, which all the parents, right? You guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have more flexibility, and we're able to take it and realize that, look, even if we don't contribute anything, which is not going to happen, we're going to do something. We can take this money that we were putting towards our 401k and our retirement accounts, and we can do it for things in the now. I know you're a big proponent of The Die With Nothing. I love that book. I took it to heart when you recommended it. And so there's something about not being so intense and gazelle intense the entire time, because you really are going to burn yourself out.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love the balance of, the hardcore messages of Dave Ramsey and the FIRE movement. I think they're fantastic, and they help people get to great places. They definitely help our family get to great places. But then there's also that, the opposite side of, hey, we only have this one life. Let's do some amazing things while we're here and create some memories. So I think finding that balance is important for a lot of people, and it's obviously different stages for everybody. It sounds like you guys are entering into that area right now. AJ, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Andy.